Hey everyone, my name's Phoenixryan, and this is a quick condensed summary of what I thought of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre technical test. So, before I begin, I gotta apologize, my voice sounds a little bit frazzled. I've tried to record this several times today, and unfortunately my microphone died during the one successful recording of this. I'm trying to keep my thoughts fairly coherent. I've just come off the back of playing both the family side and the victim side, and I've got some thoughts on both. Let me start off by saying that I'm actually really looking forward to this game coming out, or at least I was. When the game was announced, I did have my thoughts going in, but I've tried not to let that cloud my judgment with this. I've tried to go in as open-minded as possible. Now, Gun Media is the same company that was behind Friday the 13th, and I mean, sadly, that didn't have a happy ending. As cool an idea as that was, and not to rehash the story of Friday the 13th, it ended up having a very dedicated small user base because the game just died off. Now, sadly, I just have this sneaking suspicion that this game is going to end up the same way. Not because I think that the company isn't capable, but because I think that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, at least in this instance, just has too many fundamental design flaws. So I'm trying to keep my thoughts coherent here, and it's really difficult because there's a lot that I want to say. I'm going to try and keep it as condensed as possible. The good stuff that I can talk about is the theming. The theming's great. Everything from the tunnels under the house to the house itself, and even the slaughter yard, the indoor barns, all of it is well crafted and lends itself to the movies. The lighting's really good. It all looks very cinematic, and I think that's what they were going for. There's a lot of aspects that you can draw straight from the movies, whether it's background or sets. I think where this game really lets itself down is the fact that there's just not enough information given to any of the players. Whether you're playing as a member of the family or one of the victims, you're just not armed with enough information to make informed decisions on what you should be doing. As a member of the family, I didn't know whether I needed to keep feeding Grandpa or patrol a different area, or even know which areas to patrol to even start looking for victims. And that was largely the biggest issue that I had. When I was playing as a member of the family, I think I actually had a game where I didn't see a single victim. You could argue that perhaps I wasn't playing the role correctly, but I would probably look at it as the game didn't arm me with enough information to be able to carry out my role correctly. I feel that without failing more than a few times, or without having somebody explain to you what you need to do, anyone would struggle. And while I have witnessed competent family members, I see more people struggle with the role than I do succeed with the role. And that works in both senses as well. I see so many survivors just sprinting around, even though the game explicitly says go slow. However, going slow doesn't help in the long game, because whilst the game is less of a game of cat and mouse and more of a game of hide and seek, the family members are given way too many tools in which to track survivors, to track victims, even when they're moving slowly. The cook in particular is my biggest bugbear, as he actually has an ability that can just find you. Staying away from the hitchhiker and Leatherface is fine, but when you've got a member of the opposition that can just find you no matter what you're doing, there lies in the problem. Now, I know I mentioned that the family members don't get a lot in terms of tracking. They do get Grandpa. However, knowing how much to interact with Grandpa is not clear. Because leveling him up does seem to be the way to help track victims easier. But how easy do you need to be able to track them? That's a good question, because it's not clear. I think a lot of this comes from trial and error, but I don't want to waste an hour or 2 hours practicing. I want to jump into the game and play as Leatherface. Which brings me on to my next point. When I'm playing as the family, I don't care about playing as the hitchhiker or the cook. I want to play as Leatherface. You don't think of... When you're thinking of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is the first character that springs to mind? Leatherface. I don't think of a particular victim or survivor. I don't think of any of the other family members. I could really only picture Leatherface. In fact, in a lot of the movies, the family members don't do anything. They make some jeering noises and mostly serve as background. Thematically, it makes sense to have them in the game, but to have them play such a prominent role as the main killers, or at least be part of the team, active members of the team, was a little bit strange to me. I think ultimately the lack of knowledge given to the player is what drives a lot of the problems. The fact that as a family member, you don't know which areas to patrol, you don't know what objectives you're supposed to be preventing the victims from reaching, because you're told as a victim that you need to repair a water valve to escape through the water gates, or that you need to use a fuse to open a certain gate. But the family members aren't told where that gate is or where the fuse is. They aren't told what the broken water thing, the water pump is. They don't know where the gate is. They don't know where the exits are. There's a lot of strange design choices that could be easily rectified by having a light up beacon or a map. And I think if the logic is that people would camp those areas, I mean, then you need to do something to combat that, not just make them totally blind. Making them blind isn't going to fix the problem, because if I play a level 10 times and learn it inside out, I'm going to know where the exit is. I'm just not going to know where it is the first time. So ultimately, I'm still going to camp the exit if I wanted to camp it. So that doesn't fix the problem. That just delays the problem. Now, like I said, I don't want to hammer the game because it's not even out yet. This is a technical test. There are certain issues where I was getting disconnected from games, which I totally understand. The game's not out yet. At one stage, the game even got pat. I didn't experience that again. So whatever was causing that problem, they looked at and they were pretty hot on it. And matches don't generally last very long either, with survivors either escaping or dying within only a couple of minutes. Now, I really hope that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game does indeed get improved on, and I wish the developers and the publishers every success with it, and I hope people enjoy the product that comes out, and I sincerely hope that I'm wrong. I really hope that my prediction's wrong and that it's massively successful, because I'd love to see more successful games in this space. However, I do think that without massive improvements to some fundamental design choices and to some areas of the game that I don't feel it'll be as successful as it could be. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you looking forward to the game? Are there any other games that you're looking forward to? Let me know. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.